Going to move instead off to the outside, try to open up the corner, and wow, great move from Oliveira. Can he get this one right back? Gtos not done, but he carries the speed well. Oh, nearly. Once again, banging doors. Inside for Piper. If he can keep it on the track, he doesn't. Oh, wheels spinning up the grass as Gtos somehow doesn't get into the wall. 3 wide, down into Hobbs, and diving it deep. Oliveira really wants that spot.
This was on my side monitor, and I watched him flash through here. This is insane. Look at it, offline, in the marbles, gets around Mr. Sneaky. I think we're going to have to change Mr. Sneaky from Takeshi Kita to Gunderson.
He's got a little bit of an overlap, and he's got the right-hand side. DJ seems to think that's the place to go. Will that be the case? He gains a little bit back, but now it's going to switch back in favor of David Burns. He carries it around the outside with a ton of speed, but he keeps it well, and he's got a nose ahead coming off the corner. Burns has better momentum. He has got it. David Burns will win here in Canada.
Watch how close this gets. Andrew Hardman, king of going up the inside, decides to go around the outside. Overprotected going into there. Hardman actually in the lead at this point. Waring comes back and says, nope, I'm not letting you have it. I'm taking one of the 10,000 lines and going through 10 and gets back into the lead. This was a pass on the last lap that became an unpass as they went into that final corner. Good defense from Waring. Hardman trying to go around the outside, gets the power down, but just doesn't quite have enough to make it. But that was some amazing racing.
And Challoner is going to try it, and they're going to go 3 wide. That's his teammate, is it not? One of our Evolve drivers, but it looks like Challoner can't quite make the pass. Andrew Waring trying to come back through as he cuts underneath. A savvy move from the number 5, and he's going to have that 3rd place.
This is your chance to get behind the wheel. The opportunity to race just like the pros. From the grassroots levels, where we all got our start, to the most popular race cars on the planet. From the fairgrounds of Nashville to the high banks of Daytona, to tracks that will never be forgotten. Realistic driving, intense competition, all from the comfort of your own home. This is the ultimate motorsports simulation. This is iRacing.
Lake found himself getting a lucky break at Interlagos as Leskala had to fight his way back through the field. But the two rivals still have 5 remaining races that could drastically shift the complexion of the situation. Indeed, other drivers waiting in the wings could easily find opportunities to take the points lead away from Phil. Will Spa offer up one of those chances? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 8 of the Kamel GT Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Spa is a regular fixture on most series schedules. Let's head to our track guide to see why it's so common. Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. Less than an hour's drive east from the German border, this Belgian track has come to define racing for many different eras in the sport. It's no wonder it continues to entrance drivers when you look at the stats. The 7 kilometers over the course of a lap includes more than 330 feet in elevation change as it weaves its way through the Ardennes forest. Packed into this is 19 turns, some of which are considered among the most famous in the world of racing. Corners like La Source and Blanchemont have been on the lips of drivers for decades. But by far the most notorious is Eau Rouge and Radillon. Typically referred to in name by just the first section, it dips low and swings left, then compresses and climbs to the right up a massive hill. The sequence ends with a completely blind crest that sweeps to the left and leads onto the incredibly long Kamel Straight. The bravery required to be fast through there will pay off towards one of the most popular passing spots at Lacombe. Eau Rouge is exemplary of the rest of the circuit though. Most of the turns are incredibly fast and many include much of that signature elevation change. As jaw-dropping as the track is, you have to remember that this is the modern truncated layout. The old one, raced until 1979, was 14 kilometers in length, yet carried an average speed of 150 miles per hour. Present-day safety measures do cut down on the danger, but even in recent history, the circuit has proven deadly. It's clear why this track continues to be revered and respected by racers the world round. Well, Adam, this should be interesting. And after covering the Lotus 49s at the Nürburgring, this place, which is usually mammoth, is going to feel a little small.
Yeah, just about just a couple hundred miles away, or even less actually, is the Circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. 4.5 miles, 7 kilometers for these guys, 19 turns. It is a long track, and it's long been a staple of the Kamel community, and it's pretty easy to see why. The high-speed, fast-paced track lends itself to tight, exciting racing we often see in Kamel. At least for one of the classes. The Nissans, they feel very at home here with the relatively low curbs and the long, sweeping, and downforce needed turns that are built for F1, suiting the giant wing machine very well. Their biggest pain points are La Source, Rivage, and the bus stop due to the low wing they run around this track, but the Audis, on the other hand, they're not at home here with the same long, sweeping corners just burning a hole in their front tires as they struggle to hit the apexes and duke it out with the draft pack on the extremely long straights. These long straights can encourage a lot of battling, but often result in a lot of riding around, fuel saving, and waiting for the final couple of laps. Traffic here can be chaotic, though, with Eau Rouge and Radillon being pain points for the Nissans, as they can lose 3 to 5 seconds if they get held up going up the hill. The entire sector can be, the entire second sector, rather, can be very dangerous for both classes due to the Audi understeer as well. Traffic often determines the winner at Spa for the Kamel Series today, and I expect no less here, Joe.
Exactly. And if we take a look at the points situation, though, in the meantime, it is still Aitor Sintes Galindo who has been leading from early on in the prototypes, which is honestly very impressive because he's only had 2 wins thus far. It's been pretty varied out there. But Maciejewski, who you see down there in 6th, has suddenly come in and made a splash. And you can see he's only 34 points back. So he could try and claw his way up to Aitor by the end of the season. But he'll have to be very consistent and hope for some bad times. Krajcik instead is the closest right now. He's continuing to pull away from Laust Olsen, who's unfortunately not had the greatest of luck himself in this series. Fabian Jungluth and Pablo Suarez tied for the 4th and 5th position. So there's your situation for the GTPs. What about the GTOs?
Well, for the GTOs, Phil Lake leads with quite a big gap, 23 points, almost a full win over Nick McConos, with Javier Del Olmo 32 points back of that. Reed Miller close on the heels of Javier Del Olmo, looking to pipe away that third position over the course of the next couple races. Yuko Leskala, though, 38 points back of the lead. That is a win and a half, and Phil Lake has some drop points in his bag, so Yuko definitely has an opportunity to try and get to Phil Lake, but Phil's going to have some bad luck down the line. The bottom 5 of the GTO standings here in the top 10 are all pretty close together, so look for those positions to continue to change hands over the rest of the season.
Now, if you watched last week, it's back to our normal race distance for this week, as it's only going to be 40 minutes as opposed to the 60 we saw before. It's open setup in this series, and who goes for what setup around here will be interesting to watch. I have to imagine they'll want to try and trim them out as much as they can, but they also have no spare car. Obviously, there's a lot of paved runoff around here, which will help them not have to need that spare car, but it also means that those incidents, which can cause a drive-through penalty at 17 and its disqualification at 25, will be a huge talking points and definitely on the minds of the drivers here today, as they are in the midst of the qualifying, but it's the final 3 minutes. And if I remember correctly, I believe a lot of the GTOs probably won't be able to get that second lap in, will they?
Second lap should be possible if they're crossing the line within the next minute or so. So it's going to be, we still have 3 minutes left and they do 2:17. So they have enough time to get that second lap in. But it's going to be tight. Currently, Yuko Leskala up at the top of the standings by 6/10 over Phil Lake, with Reed Miller another 7 points back, another 7/10 back. Javier Del Olmo jumps up to third. But looking at the top of the GTP standings, I see a name I do not recognize. Topi Kortaniemi jumps in the number 3 machine, currently has pole by 1/10 over Laust Olsen.
Well, I know that name, and that is from the Lotus 79s and now the 49s as well, where he dominated at the Nürburgring earlier today. So expect him to be a real force for these drivers. But Olsen's keeping him honest. He's about 1/10 of a second behind. Is the 44 going slow there, coming off of Eau Rouge? Guess he is done with that one here today. Leskala 0.6 of a second ahead of Phil Lake. Certainly looks like he's got plenty in hand for that one. But we're missing almost about half the field in the GTOs to set a time. And then a good half dozen of the GTPs have not set a time, including Machajewski, who must have had an off track on that first one. So our winner from the last 2 rounds has got to get back around and get a clean one in.
Yeah, any GTOs who are starting their laps now will not get their second lap in. It is too far of a distance for them to go and to get around in time to finish their second lap. So those drivers who have not finished their first laps, they're in big trouble for getting that second lap in. Also, the same is true, actually, of the GTPs as well. So Cam Porter, Jason Clapper, Kurt Clapper, Jason Clapper and Kurt Clapper are not out on track right now, and Shane A. Gray all will not get those second laps in unless they're on their second lap at the moment.
Well, Kortaniemi went a little bit quicker on his last lap, and Olsen just wrecked out of the final corner. I thought he was going to be improving, but unfortunately he threw it away. So Machajewski, who comes around, crosses the line. It's a 56.7. And that will take pole away from Kortaniemi. He is indeed a match for the Finn. We got a race on our hands in the prototypes.
Yep, absolutely. Phil Lake coming around the final corner now to try and see whether or not he can pip the top pole position away from Yuko Leskala. There is Phil. He crosses the line, and it's not going to do it. Yes, it is, by 1/1000th of a second. Can Yuko pip him? He crosses the line, and he does by 5/10. So those warm tires really do improve the time. Yuko Leskala on provisional pole at the moment.
A brief moment of ecstasy for the number 4, but it all slips away as soon as Yuko once again finishes that second lap and shows what's possible in this machine. 30 seconds left. Trying to see who we have coming towards the line here. I see Villar in the 39. He improves to a 22.4, about 1/10 quicker, but that's not going to get him any positions, as it looks like Pina in the 32 had his second lap deleted, as his first one was also deleted, so that's it for him. Marco Lay going to be the last one, just barely getting across. 2:18.7, big improvement for him, but only gets him 1 spot into 8th. That'll take us to our starting order here today. Jakub Machajewski is going to try to make it a 3-peat, but Topi Kortaniemi is going to try and stop him from that, starting to his outside on the front row. Laust Olsen didn't get to into his second lap. He'll start from third. Farron Grau will be P4. Aitor Sintez Galindo, our points leader, 5th place for him as Ove Trangrade starts from P6 and Timothy Vaughn in 7th. It's Martin Krejcik P8 and Fabian Jungbluth in 9th. As Javier Mascara will start from 10th and Nimcross Jr., excellent qualifying for him, up into 11th. Seamus Power starts from 12th position. Pablo Suarez P13 and then J.D. Walker in 14th. Stefan Leslie will be P15, followed by Richard Holt in 16th and Juan Aragonis in 17th position. Emerson Gaudin down on the outside of that row in 18th. You've got Christian Ribas 19th and Fernando Espallargas in the 20th position. It's Cam Porter and Shane Gray, last two that have set a time. After that, Fonseca, Clapper, Jason Clapper, and Kurt Clapper both start at the back of the prototypes.
We have Yuka Leskala, who starts on pole for the GTO with Phil Lake next to him. Familiar sight that we've seen a lot of times this season. We got Reed Miller in 3rd with Javier Del Olmo in 4th position. Franco Scurry back to his good qualifying ways in the 5th position, with Nick McConos not having the greatest qualifying himself in 6th. We got Robert Plumley, Mark Ole, Devin Donaghy, and Gianluca Gabbiani rounding out your top 10, with Ryan Van Verst, Najan Cameron, and Alejandro Silva Carde lining up in 13th position. We got Axel Vilar in 14th with Vojan Gijic in 15th position. We got Lucas Azelis in 16th, John Urban in 17th, your last car to set a qualifying time. Then we've got Pablo Rangel in 18th position, Tim Wilkinson 19th, Angel Pina in 20th, Jesus Amandre in the 21st position with Lincoln Twitt in 22nd, and Patrick Hanar, who did not set a qualifying time, rounding out your 23 Audis and your 48 car field today.
A lot of them out there, and it's going to be a fun one, no doubt, but an important one in the championship, because this could set the tone for the remainder of it, depending on what kind of results some of our fast guys of recent have had and some of our points leaders have in regards to that. As you see them heading down towards the final chicane here into the bus stop, and Machajewski will get the green flag as they come up towards that last right-hander, switching back to the left. The Porsche pace car ducks into pit lane. Jakob is going to get the jump most likely. In fact, oh, wow, huge jump. And Cortiniemi is nowhere to be seen as they cross the line. He's already down into 4th position. That actually stretches them out a bit here at the front coming into La Source. That might be a much better thing for these drivers, as they will not crunch into there. Indeed, they're all spread out. So let's go to the GTOs.
A great launch for Yuka Leskala over Phil Lake, who had to take it wide because Reed Miller was on the inside of the bus stop chicane. Reed Miller looking up the inside of Phil Lake, but Phil's going to hold on to it as they go across through La Source and now down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. It's pretty strung out for the Audis at the back of the field too. Not a lot of side-by-side as they head towards Eau Rouge.
Ooh, and coming up into the braking for Lacombe, Olsen and Sintez Galindo nearly had a go at Machajewski, but he managed to hold on to the lead as we watch Leskala fly down the Kimmel Straight himself. And here's where it all starts to erupt with these GTOs, the slipstream just allowing them all to come together, but fighting for second place. Reed on Lake does not go to Reed. Lake will defend.
Yeah, good defense from Phil Lake, late on the brakes, so definitely heating up those front tires a little bit, but he wants those front tires heated up. It takes a full lap to warm up these tires for the Audis around here, so he needs as much hard braking and as much scrub on those front tires to get these things warmed up to stay on the back of Yuko, who's half a second faster than him per lap if qualifying is any sort of consideration.
And yeah, it's been a bit of a cool morning here. It's only